Okay, today's math lesson is lesson 12-4. You will need your math paper that has that on top of it. I don't have mine right here. Let's see. It kind of looks like this. I don't know if you can see it there. The blue guy is on there and it says 12-4 on the top. Sorry for the close-up. Okay, so if you need to go get that, go ahead. We are going to start off with our math movie about measuring, and then we'll do some measuring together with cubes.
How can you use connecting cubes to measure and compare the lengths of objects? Let's find out. One way to order objects by their lengths is to line up the objects next to each other. Then you can tell which object is longest and which object is shortest. How do you compare and order objects by their lengths when the objects are not next to each other? You can measure objects to compare and order their lengths. To measure the objects, you can use connecting cubes. About how many cubes long is the eraser? The eraser is about 3 cubes long. About how many cubes long is the marker? The marker is about 6 cubes long. Which is longer, the marker or the eraser? How do you know?
When you look at them, you know that 3 is a smaller number than 6, or you could say 6 is a larger number than 3. So whichever one has more is the greater number or the greater amount.
The marker is longer than the eraser because 6 is greater than 3. About how many cubes long is the paintbrush? The paintbrush is about 8 cubes long, so the paintbrush is longer than the marker and the eraser. How do you know the paintbrush is the longest?
Look at the 3 numbers, 6, 3, and 8. Which number is the biggest number or the greatest number?
The paintbrush is the longest because 8 is greater than 3, and 8 is greater than 6. Which object is the shortest?
So which
The eraser
number
is the shortest
smallest?
because 3 is the least number. What are the objects in order from longest to shortest? The paintbrush is the longest. The marker is in the middle. The eraser is the shortest. The objects are in order from longest to shortest. Now you know how you can use connecting cubes to measure and compare the lengths of objects and order them by their lengths.
Okay, so today we are going to do some measuring. Let's see here. I'm going to turn this around. Maybe you'll be able to see my board. There we go. And we're going to be moving around a little bit today because we have some different things to measure. But if I was going to measure these 3 papers here, these 3 lines, what I really should do is put them all next to each other so they line up, and then I could see which one goes out the farthest. But they're stuck to the board. So if I can't move something, or I don't know what to do, or how to measure them, I can still find a way to do that. So I have these magnet blocks here that will stick that I'm going to use. I also have some cubes that I could use. Sometimes we can measure things with paper clips. I only can find a couple paper clips around my house right now, so I can't do that. But today I'll measure with these blocks, and we will count how many blocks we need for each one, and then we'll be able to put them in order by telling which one had the most and which one had the smallest. Okay, so let's start out over here with our orange one. I'm going to line up the blocks right at the edge of the orange line, and each one that I put up there will line up. We're not going to leave a space between them. We're going to line them up one right next to each other. All these blocks are the same size, so that's how I know I can use them to measure. And I think I'm going to stop there. There's a little bit more room, but it's not enough for another block. If I tried to put another one on, it would go out too far. So then I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The orange one has 10. Let me grab my marker real quick. There it is. And I can write that down so I don't forget. So the orange line is 10 blocks long. Let's go over to the blue line up here, and I will do the same thing. Measure by lining them up. I start at the edge, and I'm going to add the blocks to measure the blue line. And again, there's a little bit of space left, but I can't fit another one in. So now I can count the blocks to see how long the blue line was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So now when I compare the blue line and the orange line, 13 is greater than 10. So I know the blue line is longer than the orange line. Let's go down here to the green line. And I might not have enough blocks left. Let's see. If I measure this one. All right, and a little bit of space, but I can't quite fit another one in there. So we will leave it like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I can see that 13, 10, and 6 are my measurements, or are my numbers. If I was going to put them in order, 13 is the greatest or the biggest number, so this line is the longest. And 6 is the least or the smallest number, so I know that this line is the shortest. If I put them in order from longest to shortest, it would be blue line, orange line, green line. So go ahead and you don't have to do anything on the front of your math paper because I just did it up here, and I know you don't have the same lines as I do or same things as I do. So go ahead and open up to the inside of your math paper. On the inside here, it should look like this. It's asking us to measure with cubes. I know you don't have cubes at your house. I do have some cubes at my house to measure with, but I don't have all of the things that they want us to measure. So I found a couple things from around my house that we can measure together. If you have something that you want to measure at your house, maybe you have some Legos or even like a jar of pennies or paper clips, something that's all the same size. I know at Patrick's house, he cut little squares of paper apart and used them. As long as they're the same size, that's fine. So the first thing wants us to measure a bookshelf in our classroom. I'm not in our classroom. I also don't have a bookshelf like that at my house. So we're going to skip that one for now. The same thing with a desk. I'm going to go down to the calendar right here. I do have a calendar at my house. So here's my calendar. See if it'll stand up there. It is on a magnet. All right, so this is my calendar. It's got a picture of whales swimming on it, and it says the name of the month, April, and our days are all on there. And it wants us to measure from one side of the calendar to the other side of the calendar using cubes. So here's my tub of cubes. So what I'm going to do is start over here. Now my cubes are not going to stick up here, and I don't have 8 arms like an octopus to hold them all. So I'm going to start, just add a couple cubes to my chain and see how far I'm getting. If I need to add more or if I can stop. I'm about halfway now. So let's add a couple more cubes. Let's see how we are. Right, I've got a little bit more space over here. Let's try 2 more. And maybe 1 more cube. Okay, let's see. Looks pretty good, almost perfect for the cubes. So now I can see that my calendar goes from one side to the other side, and I use this many cubes to figure it out. So I'm going to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I used 15 cubes to measure my calendar from one side to the other. So back on your paper, next to the picture of the calendar, you could write down 15, 1, 5, because the calendar is about 15 cubes across. So we're going to move over. I'm again going to skip number 5. I do have a table, my kitchen table, but all my papers are on it right now, and my computer and iPad, so I'm not going to move that. But I can do a chair, okay? So I'm going to move my chair over. And let me make sure you can see it. There it is. Okay, so you can see my chair a little bit there, and it's a big chair. It's my kitchen, it's the chair at my kitchen table. But they want us to measure from the floor all the way up to the top of the chair. So I'm going to steal the one that I just did, the 15 from the calendar, because this is going to take us a little while, and we're going to add some more cubes to it as we go. So let's see here. We can keep adding cubes. And I'm going to stack them up on my chair. Maybe you can see a little bit like that. Yep. Here's another big one. Let's see if that will work. There we go. So there's the top, and here's the seat of the chair. I'm not going all the way down to the floor. You can't see it, and I don't think I have enough cubes. So we will do from the top of the chair to the seat of the chair. So let's count the cubes that we used. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 30 cubes for the chair. So when you go back to your paper, right here, on the chair, go ahead and write about 30 cubes. Now, every chair was different. If we were at school measuring a chair, it would probably not be 30 cubes because the school chairs are a different size than the chairs here at my house. The last one, number 7, wants us to measure a trash can. Now, I grabbed a smaller trash can, like this, from the bathroom, so it's just a small one. So we can measure from the bottom to the top of this trash can, all right, using the cubes. So let's see, I'm gonna do, maybe I can prop it up right there, see if you guys can see that. Yep. So I'm gonna stick some cubes together. And we'll start at the bottom, and we wanna go up to the top of the trash can. So just like before, I'm gonna stick some and then see, I need a little bit more. Maybe 2. 1 more. And check it again. There we go, from the bottom to the top of the trash can, and I'll count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So get your paper, and for the trash can, we're going to write 13. My trash can that I measured was about 13 cubes tall. If you're measuring at your house, I'm sure your trash can is different than the one I got. I have a bigger trash can in my kitchen. Maybe you have other trash cans in your house that you are able to measure. Our trash cans at school would be a different size also. So not everything is the same. But the one that I just measured for you was about 13 cubes tall. We were going from the bottom to the top of the trash can. Okay, when you are ready, flip your paper to the back. And all the way up top, number 9 says, Tim draws a line that is 8 cubes long. Meg draws a line that is 4 cubes long. Draw a line that is longer than Meg's line and shorter than Tim's line. Then use cubes to measure. All right, so what I'm going to do is move my other things here. So let's get rid of these. And we're going to start off with our cubes and drawing a line. So the first one says Tim draws a line that is 8 cubes long. So I need 8 cubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 cubes. When it says long, I'm going from side to side. So here's my 8 cubes, and I'm just going to start here where the cubes start and stop over here where the cubes stop, and then I'm going to draw my line. I'll make it a little thicker, hopefully you guys can see it. So this line is 8 cubes long. It says Meg draws a line that is 4 cubes long. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to hold that down here. Here's the end, here's the end, and I'm going to connect them to make a line. And I'm going to write a 4 here. So now we've got 8 cube and 4 cube. Those are my lines. Now they tell us to draw a line that is longer than Meg's line, but shorter than Tim's line. So our line has to be in between these two. Luckily, I was able to line them up there. All right, so I'm going to start here. And I'm going to come across. I have to go longer than this one, but I can't go as far as that one. So I'm going to stop right there. Okay, now it says use cubes to measure my line. So my line, oh, remember it can't be 4, it's got to be longer than 4, maybe it's 5. My line is just about 5 cubes long. And 5 is longer than 4, but it's shorter than 8. So it's right in the middle. If you want to use something at your house to measure and draw lines with, that is fine. You have some room right here on this side of your paper, or if you have scrap paper at your house, you can practice measuring and drawing lines. Number 10 says Fido is about 24 cubes tall. Fuzzy is about 30 cubes tall. Rex is the shortest of the 3 dogs. So we've got 30, 24, and then shorter than that. What number would be smaller than 30 and smaller than 24? Well, let's look at our choices. Is 39 smaller than 30 and 24? No, it's bigger. Is 31 smaller than 30 and 24? No, it's bigger. Is 24 smaller than 30 and 24? Well, it's smaller than 30, but it's the same as 24. So it's not smaller than 24, it's the same. And then 20, is that smaller than 30 and 24? Yes, it is. It's smaller than 30 and it's smaller than 24. So we're going to pick letter D there. 20 is Rex's size. Down at the bottom, it wants you to measure 3 things in our classroom. We're not at our classroom. So if you are able to measure 3 things around your house and see which one is the longest, which one is the medium, and which one is the shortest, you can go ahead and do that. All right, good work measuring today. Remember, you don't have to use cubes. You can use whatever you can find around your house as long as they are all the same size. Good job.